Like, what is this? What is this? Like, I can't say I'm disappointed because I knew. Like, these black creators and these writers ain't Baldwin level. Like, if you look at my last if you listen to my last voice memo, it was about Malcolm X's film. That film was written by James Baldwin. That movie was thought of in 1965, ain't come to screen till 1992. So that shit took a long time to make a masterpiece, but a masterpiece it was. You know what I mean? Malcolm X is a masterpiece, bro. Like, when I think of some of the great biopics, or I think about some of the great movies that talked about a moment in time, especially when we talk about Black life, when we talk about, we could just go like Ray, When They See Us by Ava DuVernay. Potent. That shit hit different. Like, I've heard about Central Park 5 before, but that movie hit different. That movie hit was a whole nother level. Like, Ava DuVernay's writing, the acting, the cinematography, all that shit hit different. That shit was potent. By the time you got to the fourth part, you had a face full of tears. Like, this shit was potent. That shit hit way different. Shaka ain't hit shit with this. What was that? I was like, what? What is this? Stop making movies about our heroes. Like, leave this shit alone. If y'all not gonna fight, if y'all ain't ready to fight for some shit to get made, like Spike had to fight for Malcolm X, like Marvin Worth, Malcolm's childhood friend from 1965 to 1992, if y'all ain't willing to fight for some real masterpiece work of art to get made, even Nate Parker had to fight for A Birth of a Nation. That shit was mid, but he fought for that shit to get made. He had to beg for money and do what he had to do for it to get made. If you ain't willing to put in the work and the time and the effort and really give us some real powerful masterpiece type shit, then leave it alone. That's how I feel. I'll wait the extra 10, 20, 30 for you to give us what we really need for Fred Hampton's story, or for that moment in time to be told the right way. You don't talk about people who contributed so much to the black community and what they went through with a story about a person that infiltrated their shit and like, no, I'm not going for that. Shit ain't what it is. That shit was worse than mid. That was from Reggie. Like, that I don't know. Like, that movie wasn't what it was supposed to be. Like, I'm mad that HBO Max let that shit come out. Like, if I was giving you money for that shit, I would have been like, what is this? I want my refund. Bro, this shit is crazy. I couldn't believe it, but yeah, man. It was bad. People thought it was good. I just feel like people don't know that story. You get what I'm saying? For you to think that movie was good, you just don't know that story. You can't know that story of that December 4th raid and how bad that shit was and how they tried to cover that shit up, and how, you can't know how deep that shit go, how Chicago PD lied, how the FBI lied and tried to cover that shit up, and how they tried to, how the judicial system came down on them lawyers, and how they didn't want to get them no money, and how they had to fight for that little 1.8 that they had to split between all them people after 13 years of fighting that case. Y'all don't know how deep that shit was for y'all to say that movie was that good. That shit wasn't nothing compared to what that story really was, and how hard they had to fight to bring justice to that situation. The little bit of justice they got. Don't sit up here and tell me that shit was dope. That shit wasn't shit. Shaka didn't do shit. That shit wasn't nothing, bro. That shit was haunting when I was reading that. When I was reading about that story, I was haunted. I was like, wow. Wow. When I watched the movie, I was like, oh. Stop playing with us, man. Fucking played. Like, real talk. He played. I'm out.